Welcome to Finessential, a podcast for anyone who wants to learn about business and entrepreneurship. I'm your host Vishnu.
And I'm your co-host Sahil. On this show, we dive into the world of business by sharing valuable insights by interviewing successful entrepreneurs.
Whether you're a seasoned business owner or just getting started out, this podcast is for you.
Tune in to understand essential elements of building a successful business. Thank you.
Hi Philippine.
Hi guys.
Thank you so much for speaking to us very early in the day as well.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to have you. It's really cool to be able to, exchange on the media field. So
we're happy to have you here. To kick things off, can you maybe tell us about what your experience was like before you entered the media field? Because you did not start off as a journalist in the TV and radio space. You worked in a couple of fields before that.
Yes.
You also worked with a lot of major brands from what I can see. So what was that like, and when did you kind of realize you wanted to get into the world of media?
Okay. Well, actually, I never studied journalism, so I kind of ended up there through different kinds of events that I'm going to talk you through. But I studied initially business, and then I did a school of art. Business school was in France, school of art was in the UK.
Okay.
I started working, basically my main passion was food, so the cooking industry, but working in like communication departments or marketing departments or events, things like that. So I was working alongside chefs or big brands from the LVMH group, the wine and spirit part. I was working alongside chefs and people within that industry to create events, to do marketing field research and things like that, and like communication campaigns. And so that's how I started in I would say, my career, at least my working experiences. And then I was working a lot in different countries. I traveled and worked in Denmark, Germany, Belgium, and France.
Okay.
So essentially Europe. When I came back to France, I've been someone basically, I think like a friend of a friend was looking for new people to be part of a food show.
Okay.
So that's how it all started for me in the media. Someone was like, I'm looking for someone who knows about food, who might be okay with camera, and when this kind of show look for people, they just look at many different ways, traditional way, people already in the field, maybe people outside, they talk, it's a lot of word of mouth. So I ended up doing castings for that food show, and it went pretty well. The reason why I think it worked well is because, so in a nutshell, my dad was a photographer, and when I was in London, I was also in advertising agencies to do photos and videos and make money on the side of my studies. So I was kind of used to camera already, so it was not an issue.
Yeah.
So I had this use of camera plus passion for food, and it kind of got me into that show.
Okay.
And then, no one knows what they want to do first, The more you grow, you do things, you do an internship, you hate it, you love it, and then you kind of build yourself up.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to me. I was like, oh, that's cool, I like it. Like, I had fun with the TV crew and talking about food and sharing like new places, and I really loved that field. And I think because I showed a lot of interest to the TV channel I worked for, they suggested I be part of another show, and then this brought me to another show, and this brought me to radio, and this is how it started building up. So that's how
So it was incremental in nature.
Yes,
it didn't happen all at once.
All the good things happen. I wouldn't say they all happen with how do you call it, accidents, but if I have one advice, is go and try as much as you can, because you never know what you're gonna like, and sometimes you're like, wow, I don't like that field, but I love that person, or I don't like that industry, but I like the job. And the more internship you do in life, and the more jobs for free, and things on the side of your studies, and blah blah blah, the more you get to understand what you like.
Amazing. I think we're used to doing a lot of internships.
Voilà.
Especially for me. I don't think people can see it, but there's like a ton of books about food over here, which we were speaking about. And you were also featured on Vogue for a recipe, if I'm not wrong. So that was a lot of, topics about food when we first started researching about you. So it's really cool how far you've come.
Well, today basically I'm a journalist within the food and lifestyle industry, so I can also talk about interior design or a little bit of beauty, a little bit of sport also. It's basically things from the everyday life that makes you feel better, I guess.
That's cool. That's really nice. But now when you were speaking about you did internships, you got to know that you came into media, you loved media while doing your internships, and when you were into this field, you got to go to many places. So how was it like? Can you tell about what are the pros and cons when you came into this field of media and communication?
So there are lots of pros and cons, like everything in life, but I would say it's quite of an, if I may say, because your audience is young and that the media world is a little bit of an old world in the sense that the way it works, the structure, the time things sometimes take can be a little bit, it's a little bit old school, I think, in some ways. So basically the way it works is, if I compare, it's old school compared to social networks and things like that.
Okay.
That's just to put to give an example. So let's say you're a journalist for a TV show. The way it works is you get approved on that show. It lasts for a year. All year long, you need to prove you're good enough. Do your topics, talk, prove that your topics are interesting. Basically, do your job well. And then again next year you have a question mark. You never know if things are gonna be back again. So you always have like every year that moment of uncertainty where you're like, will this continue? Maybe sometimes the audiences are not good, maybe they are amazing, maybe you're gonna be scouted for something else. So and when you compare the world of media to the world of social media, for instance, there is way less opportunities. Today with social media, you can have like 2,000 possibilities. Obviously, there's a lot of people and a lot of accessibility, but also lots of opportunities. If you're good and you work on your thing and people get interested, especially with platforms like TikTok, it can go like very quickly, very, very, very soon. Which is not the case in media. Like it's more of a working, being there, being noticed, growing a little bit, it's like longer careers, I would say. So that's how it works, kind of.
That's interesting.
That's interesting. But nowadays, social media, Instagram, TikTok, everything is there. Do you think a person can build his career from there into media using social media?
It's a really good question, and I think yes. For many reasons. A, because you're lucky enough today to create your own content. So let's say you're crazy about sports.
Yes.
And you talk about it really well, and like all the gossips within sport, blah blah blah. So you can create your own platform, and that's like a really nice portfolio. That's what people do with social media. I think today the traditional media are looking for young and fresh ideas, and they want to obviously diversify in like more modern communication tools, so more into social media, more like reels, more lives, more YouTube, more podcasts. They just want to, obviously because they're getting a bit more older and they want to connect with younger generation. So yes, I think you can. My advice would be, if you want to enter the media world, create exactly what you would like to talk about. So you really commit to your social content, and eventually at some point you try and connect to people in the media. Obviously this is not easy. It's a small world, quite protective, because obviously many people want to get in. But I think if you have a strong product, you might be able to even connect through them through their own social network platform. I think they want to change, so they hopefully more and more they will listen to young young people like knocking at the door. Also, what I wanted to say, wait, I had an idea. For example, to give you a concrete example, I was in touch with a big press media recently. I don't know if this project is gonna work, but all I know is that they really want to push a lot the video. So initially it's people writing. Obviously writing today, sadly, there's less and less people reading it. So they want to diversify and put their content in other formats. And they called for me and maybe other people like me just because I can connect with those worlds and I'm able to talk in front of the camera, blah, blah, blah. So I feel there will be more and more opportunities for people working or being out there in social media to interact with more traditional media.
Okay. We'll move to like a new segue where we kind of understand what it's like having opinions in media and also how that's shaped your life outside of work as well, because from what I've seen, a lot of people in the field of media are extroverted in nature, as you are. You seem very lively and very extroverted. Is that generally the case for everyone in the world of media? Do you have to be a very outgoing person, or if you are an introvert, is there a chance for you to still do what you do?
Well, I think you still need to be a bit okay with... I mean, introverts can have their space, but maybe behind the camera, which is great too, because they control the content. Yeah. So if you like the media and you're introvert, go and work in productions. You know, people behind writing the script, imagining shows, going out there on the field. Also, people who actually work on the technical part are quite generally people who are quite, I wouldn't say shy, but they just prefer being behind the camera. Yeah. So you can choose to all these jobs behind the camera. You can be more introvert and still be 2000% part of the whole game.
You spoke about how social media is extremely competitive because there are a lot of people that are trying to break into the field. It's also because everyone has access to social media. And in the world of media, I've seen a lot of movies where people compete so much for the 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. Primetime slots because that's how you get popular. A lot of people see you. Is that really the case in the media world, or is that just fiction?
I think it's definitely a reality, but it mainly depends on the world and the industry you focus on. So for people in political or economical topics, they need to get the hot, freshest news, and it can be about war, it can be about local economical crisis and things like that. Because these are so big topics, yes, there is a little bit of a fight to be the first to get it, and there's a lot of pressure in that field, which is a pressure I have less in mind, which is more like in the lifestyle world. Obviously it's not hot topics, it's cool new trends, it's a little softer in a way, so you still have competition, but not exactly in the same way.
Got it.
Okay.
Good. But now, so when you told that you are into not into economics or politics, but you are into lifestyle, but does it matter, like whenever you put down your opinions on something, are there any different opinions, whenever you have any different opinions from public, let's say they have some thought process and you put something else, like a different opinion, does it have any consequence on you?
As we were chatting, my topics are not controversial, but sometimes I bring things new to the table, and this is where people are like, it's strange, why would you do that, why would you change that, especially in a culture like France where people are very attached to traditions. Obviously if you question something, there's always a lot of drama around it. So I think my best example would be a topic I did on food supplements. Food supplements are not super well understood by people in the food world, obviously because food is supposed to make you healthy, and supposedly you don't need anything to get better. Like if you eat veggies, you should feel better. The reality is a bit different because we lack of many things in our body. I don't know, let's say you lack of magnesium or calcium, or you want to have better nails or better hair. There's many ways to improve your health with those food supplements that are natural things. So it's all about shifting the perception of a topic. And the way I do it personally, there's many ways of doing it, but the way I do it is more like finding really cool examples, or you're like, oh, I didn't know that. You know, like surprising people is a way to make them change.
Yeah.
Or even making fun of it. Like you guys, I know you don't like food supplements because you just like good food. Well, let me tell you, you know, you can...
Yes,
that's true.
By making jokes and being soft, you can also make people be less like on the defensive. That's my trick.
Yeah, you spoke about how hard it is to have opinions, even when you're with a group of friends, and I've experienced that a lot because my political views are very different from what my friends share, and I just avoid debating on that.
You avoid, yeah. I think if you want to bring people to your point, most of the time people are being very like directed. You know, I think sometimes you can create bridges. Let's say. I think it can apply to your topic with political situations, but let's say if you have people who only eat fast food every day and you want to bring them to eat more veggies, okay, it's very difficult because obviously it's an addiction, it costs more, there's many barriers to it. But if you bring them snacks that are industrial things but are a little bit better than just like a sundae at McDonald's, you can create, you know, you just get closer to the person, and they're gonna be like, I thought it would not taste good, but it's actually better. And you bring them little by little. So maybe if you have an issue like that with your political political opinion, you just bring them a little argument that they can swallow. And exactly.
Okay, so it should be gradual.
Well, that's my opinion. Some people just like the other way. My way is being soft and trying to find connection with the person.
No, that makes sense. I think we were exactly the same with social media as well. I think a year back we were very private, never posted even our faces. I was very shy, and now we have like public accounts. He posted a video of him dancing.
It's cool.
It is.
And you see, you grow from that. Aren't you happy about that?
Yeah, I'm very happy. I mean, because till now I used to create videos on Instagram, but then just randomly with one of my friends, I just danced and put a reel, and then I felt I felt more confident, and I can do it.
This is amazing. Yeah. It's great to grow through your work, and your example is amazing for that. So
you stop thinking of what other people think about you when you start doing this, because it's already out there and people see it. So
and most of the time you have good feedback. So
that's true.
This is difficult many times, to be fully honest. Even on every day on stories, or when I see things, sometimes I always wonder how are gonna people react if I say that. I think sometimes if you do it intelligently or you do it nicely, the way you posted videos about you were very genuine, very cute, a little bit like, nothing bad about it. So if you have good intentions and you work it intelligently in case of like media topics, I think it's good to try and push a little bit.
Now you spoke about media and opinions. So, but now like people like us who are very young, and they have no option. I mean, not option, but they don't have any contacts into media and communications, or who want to get into that field. What is the best way to start, or what advice can you give to them who want to be into that field?
Okay, so I think you're lucky. The good news is you're lucky to be in a world where you have way more ways to approach the media world. 10 years ago, I would have told you this is difficult because if you don't have connections or people around you working there, they are quite a close group.
That's right.
Today, if I was 18 and I was in love with the media, I think what I would advise you would be to really develop intelligent content on your social. Something with like a drive. So like, if you like, so we can talk about your example with sports. If you like sports, okay, focus on something really cool, like gossips within the sports world, or the latest news about specifics. like find your thing, like not just like sports in general, but maybe something cool that people around you, even your family would like to see, you know. And you work on it, you put data, you put effort, commitment, you get that nice portfolio out there. And I think then it always starts with every job kind of knocking at doors. So you will obviously get tons of no's, tons of no answers, tons of no answers to email. That's always like that. But sometimes you get one yes, and sometimes you need to do jobs for free. So my advice is, once you get your portfolio clean, you identify people you want to talk to. So, I love that media, I love that YouTube channel, I love this. And you also, I think that's harder to do, but it's important. You try to understand what's important to them.
Yeah.
So you want to work for that big sports media? Okay, I know they don't have that many young hosts. Okay. So, and maybe they don't talk about, diversity enough in sports or something like that. And then you go and you suggest to do that to them. Yeah. You know, basically, if you want to work for people, you need to be useful to them. Yeah. Make yourself as useful as possible. So sometimes you don't have anything but your time for free, and that's already a lot. Yeah. So you can suggest to work for free, you can suggest to offer some of your skills, some of your contacts, some of your ideas, but try and see what's missing them. So they're like, it's true that lately we miss a bit of that content. Let's just answer. If this doesn't work, don't worry. Sometimes you can get to one industry going through others. Mm-hmm. I would say, if you're only obsessed with the media world, don't say no to other things, because one thing might lead you to another thing. I never wanted to work in the media. Yeah. I ended up there. So there's no direct
entry.
Yes, there's many ways to get to some places. Sometimes you can be big in another industry, but because you're big in that industry, maybe people are gonna listen to you more if you want to switch to that. So say yes to as many internships and jobs as possible, because you never know who you're gonna meet and you never know where it's gonna lead you. That's my advice.
Got it. I think we started this podcast as a networking hub because we met a lot of very cool people, and it's been great just knowing them. You also spoke about niches, like, you know, if he's interested in sports, he should probably talk about that. How important is it to have one specific niche? Like, for example, I'm interested in entrepreneurship, but I'm also interested in travel. Should I stick to just posting about one topic? Because that's what everyone recommends, right? Because people will look up to you for content on entrepreneurship. But what if I want to do this, but I really enjoy this? Okay. Does that should I stay away from doing that? Or is it okay to do
both?
Yeah.
So I would say never lose a passion you like. But it's true that personally I faced issues having too many different jobs. So basically, before I was 100% in the media world, I always had a full-time job in a company on the side, because I could not afford, I was not making enough money to live with just the media. And I was doing great other jobs on the side, but people were like, what do you do? I don't really understand. Yeah. This seems cool, but so you're also TV host, but then you also have a job. Yeah. And it's okay to do many things, and I love that, especially with the new generations, they can do many things and it's okay. But in people's mind, if you want people to remind you, to remember you, it's important that you stick to one identity, I think. Okay. But then it doesn't mean, you could create yourself two identities, one profile for entrepreneurship, one profile for travel, but just keeping the two quite distinct, because let's say you have friends around you who are looking for travel tips. If they're like, I think he likes travel, but I'm not sure, because I think he also does entrepreneurship, but if you have those two identities, they will be like, yes, I know I can go and look for that guy because he's gonna have great travel tips, you know? So no matter what you do, keep doing different things, but just make clear identities are separate, I would say. Okay. And then maybe when people are much older, wiser, at the at the end of their career,
Yeah.
they can do many things and people just go for them for whoever they are. But before, when you start, make your different identities clear and distinct.
Got it. I think probably like to end things, what are like life lessons that you probably take from working in media to like outside media? How has it kind of shaped your life? Because you're in a profession where you talk to a lot of people on an everyday basis. You're supposed to always be smiling. You're supposed to.
It's true.
Yeah, you are now as well.
I'm lucky enough. I like to smile, but it's true.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's difficult.
And you're not supposed to offend people when they're on a show, which is very hard. Because from what I've read, the French are known for that. So, how did you? Were there things that you took away from the job to your everyday personal life?
Well, obviously, your job shapes your life. I mean, at least I'm in a job where personal and professional life are kind of the same, especially with topics like food or travel, because this is what you do on your personal time too. So the way it shaped my personal life, definitely everything. Now when I meet people, I ask precise questions. I go through like a lot of detail. I'm a bit like the annoying person in the room who, but how do you do this, and how does it work, and why this? So, but I'm not mad about it. I quite like it because people are always interested to talk about themselves.
Yeah,
it's nice. So most of the time people react quite well, but it kind of shaped the way I think and I act today. And also because I deal with topics like food and travel. Obviously, when I go to restaurants or I travel for my own pleasure, I have that professional voice in my head, like, ooh, should I do a topic like this, or when can I talk about that? So yes, if you want a job where things are very separate, don't go in the media. But if you're okay with it, then go for it. There's another advice I wanted to say, because I wish I had people told me that more often. Things take time to build. So, and they're not always direct, as we were saying. So if you want to work in the media and it's not working in 2, 3, 4 years, it's fine. It's okay. Keep that at the back of your mind. It's okay not to do exactly what you want and to get it straight away, and it's okay to do jobs. It's all of that is okay, because sometimes the worst experience you do can lead you to the best, and that's my case. Like, I remember doing things I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna get depressed, but I learned something that I could use for the next one, and that was the best job of my life. So don't worry if it's not instant. It's okay and it's normal.
The podcast was also like that. I think the first 1 or 2 months we did not see any reach at all, and 2 of my team members left because they told me to my face, I don't see this growing. But I kept doing it because I really loved it, and 8 months later we were in top 15% in Spotify, and we were ranked 3rd in India.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so
you see, that's your example is the best. You believed in what you did. You did not let yourself freak out. And everything takes time. I think the problem, I sound like an old person, but to be honest, there's something that is quite true, because now everything is instant. You travel instantly, you get, you post instantly. Everything is so fast that when things are not working that fast, everybody freaks out, like, oh my god, I don't know how to do this, oh my god, I've tried for like 3 weeks and it's not working. We have to remember this is normal and things take time, and your example with the podcast is the best, just because it was slowly, one more person listening to it, one more, and then at some point maybe someone else talked about it to a bigger group, and so don't freak out. Things come at some point if you put commitment.
I think that brings us to an end. We're also running out of time. Can you maybe just tell us how people can reach out to you, your Instagram or something else?
Well, first, thank you guys for having me today. It was a great chat. I loved your questions, and if you ever want to reach out, well, I think essentially Instagram. So my Instagram is Philou, Philou, Darblay, Darblay. So that's my nickname and my last name. And yeah, and you can find like food addresses, essentially Paris, also cultural tips and things to bring joy, hopefully, to your life.
I'm sure it will. But we'll add all the social media links when we post it. And it's been a great chat. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thanks to you for accepting our request.
I was very happy.
Okay. I think that
was great.